I want to preface this by saying that I never thought something like this could happen to someone I knew. I'm not one to scare easily, but this incident left me questioning everything. It was a Saturday night, and my friend Lisa was driving home late from a party. Lisa and I have been friends since high school, and she's always been the life of the party. That night, she had decided to call it quits around 1 a.m., leaving before the rest of us since she had an early shift the next morning. She didn't live too far away, maybe a 30-minute drive through a mix of suburban streets and rural back roads. Lisa called me just as she was leaving, probably to have someone to talk to on her way home and to stay awake. I could hear the music softly playing in the background and the hum of the car engine. We talked about the party, our friends, and random stuff. The conversation was normal, but I noticed she seemed a bit more nervous than usual. She mentioned she had to take an old, less-traveled road because of some construction on her usual route. The road she was referring to is known around here as Old Mill Road. It's a long stretch of abandoned road that runs through a desolate part of town. No one really uses it anymore, especially not at night. The locals have a ton of urban legends about it being haunted, but most people don't take those seriously. Still, it's one of those places that gives you the creeps just thinking about it. About 15 minutes into the call, Lisa suddenly went quiet. I remember asking if everything was all right, but she didn't respond. All I could hear was the sound of her car speeding up. I felt a knot in my stomach starting to form. I called out her name a few times, my voice getting louder with each attempt. Finally, she whispered, "Alex, I think someone's following me." Her voice was shaking. I asked her what she meant, and she told me there was a car behind her with its high beams on driving way too close. She couldn't make out the model or the plates because of the blinding lights, but she knew it had been following her since she turned onto Old Mill Road. I tried to calm her down, telling her to keep driving and not to pull over under any circumstances. I suggested she head towards the nearest gas station or well-lit area, but she told me there wasn't one for miles. Suddenly, there was a loud bang. Lisa screamed, and the phone call dropped. My heart pounded in my chest as I frantically tried to call her back, but it went straight to voicemail. I must have tried at least 20 times. In a panic, I called the police and explained everything, giving them her location as best as I could. The next few hours were agonizing. I drove out towards Old Mill Road, hoping to find her, but it was pitch black and eerily silent. I finally saw the flashing lights of police cars and stopped to talk to the officers. They told me they had found Lisa's car. It was abandoned, the driver's door wide open, and her phone was lying on the ground a few feet away. There was no sign of Lisa or the mysterious car that had been following her. The police conducted a thorough search of the area, but found nothing. No skid marks, no signs of a struggle, nothing. It was as if both Lisa and her pursuer had vanished into thin air. The investigation went on for weeks, but there were no leads. Her family and friends were devastated. We put up posters, held vigils, and did everything we could to keep her story in the public eye. But as time went on, hope dwindled. A few months later, a hiker found something in the woods about 10 miles from where Lisa's car was discovered. It was a shallow grave, and inside was Lisa's body. The scene was horrific and left more questions than answers. The autopsy revealed she had been dead for several months, matching the time she went missing. The cause of death was blunt force trauma, but there was no evidence to indicate who might have done this to her. The police reopened the investigation, but they never found the person responsible. The case went cold, and to this day, no one knows what happened that night or who the mysterious man was. Old Mill Road is now avoided more than ever, and the legends about it being haunted have only grown. But those of us who knew Lisa don't believe in ghost stories. We believe in the very real monster who took our friend away and is still out there, somewhere. If you're ever driving alone at night and you find yourself on an abandoned road, be careful. You never know who might be watching or following.